Hi everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to show you how to actually create this particular dashboard or report from the scratch. So we have two different themes or two different backgrounds. So here we have the light background, and if you click on this particular dark background, it's going to take you to the dark version of the dashboard with the same story. The difference is just the colors. So before we come back here and look at exactly what is going on, let us look at the tags that we are going to get ourselves involved with. Okay, now that you have just taken a good look at this, let us actually look at what the backgrounds would look like. The first version of our background is the light version. Then that is going to look something like this. So I always create my background inside PowerPoint, and I'm going to show you how to do just that. The other one is actually the dark version of the background, right? And that is going to be something like this, which I'm going to show you how to create from the scratch. So let's get back to our report. So if you have been following my channel before now, this is a bit different from what I had been creating, because we're trying to look at how to actually add more context to our chart in order for we to make the end users to be able to understand what the chart is actually all about without trying to think too much. So the circled one was kind of adding more context to this particular chart we have here, and as well this particular chart and this particular chart. So there are lots of things you need to understand about this particular report I have on my screen, and I'm going to show you everything. So I believe you're going to understand it more when we start creating this from the scratch than just showing you around what this is like. So over here, you can actually change, this to like, maybe you want to see top 3 customers, and what you see is the top 3 customers, top 5 customers gives you the top 5 customers and all of that. So if you're ready to actually create this from the scratch, let's do it. So subscribe to my YouTube channel if you have not, and if you have, do help me share, leave a comment and let me know what you feel about my contents. Okay everyone, let us get into work. The very first thing you do is to go grab your data. So already you have it downloaded. Click on Excel workbook, and here you find the data you're looking for, Adventure Works DW. You can click on open, and that will open it in Power Query for you. Here we go. We have all of those particular, tables right here. Exclude this particular one. So we're going to get them in. So individually, just click and check all of them. Once you have done that, the next thing, specifically to people who are just getting started, you need to understand this particular part. So the very first part you need to understand is this one here called load. Load actually helps you to load it to Power BI. So while this particular transform here takes it to Power Query for you, then cancel means you don't want it to tell. So for now, we're going to actually load this data into Power Query. Click on transform and load. So we now have all the data inside here. So the first table we are going to actually, clean and transform now is our fact table, which is the fact internet sales right here. So first of all, let us have it renamed. I'm going to rename it to fact table here. That is it. So it's optional. You can name it anything you like, or you can name it your transactional table. Depends. So I want to remove some of those columns, like the order date key, we don't need it. The due date key, we don't need it. The ship date key here, we don't actually need all of those I've just listed, and others. If I scroll to this end, you can see lots of them are not really useful to our analysis. So how do you do that? Do you actually individually remove those particular columns you don't need? Like when you right click, you see remove, and you see remove other columns. I wouldn't go into detail on what every part of the Power Query is all about. Instead, we're going to focus on what we need to achieve our own project. So I wouldn't do that. Let's go over to home. In case you are on any other part of the tab here, just click on home. And once you are actually on home, you can see this particular part where we have choose column. So go ahead and click on it. Then you see choose columns and you see go to columns. So what we're going to use now is choose columns. Click on it. And from here, we can choose the columns we want to actually use for our project. So for the first time, what you do is to deselect everything from here. Then you start selecting those columns. So we have a product and we want to connect our product to our own transactional table. So the next one again is our customer table. How do you know all of this? If I actually come over here, you can see all those particular tables that are available here now. They all have keys that are going to be connected to the main table itself. So what do? We select all the keys that are going to be used to actually get these connections. So once you've done that, we can actually scroll down to see what other keys do we really need. So if you look at here now, we have the sales territory, then we have the key right here. So going down, we have the unit price, we have the quantity right here. So the unit price we have here is actually the same thing with the unit price we have in the product table. So I would prefer using the product unit price just to create something much more advanced and to show you more ways to actually run some calculations using DAX. If I scroll down now, you can see here we have the ship date, we have the due date, and we have the other date. So for any other thing that is left, we're not going to use them, but we can always come back here and add more columns if need be. So for now, I'll click on OK. So as you can see, we have few columns added here, just 7 columns, and we are okay with this. All right, so once we have done that, let's go to this particular sales territory here and look at it. So for the sales territory, we don't have much to do. We have the header being promoted for us. One thing again you need to be very careful with is the data type. So let's come back here. So if you look at this one now, it's actually correct. Clicking on this particular icon here, or this 1, 2, and 3 here, shows you that 1, 2, and 3 is a whole number. So always try to identify what data types you have. In case you want to automatically do it, or you want the system or the Power Query engine to do it for you, you can actually highlight everything using Ctrl A. Then you go to transform. When you get to transform, you are going to see this particular detect data type right here. So click on it. It's going to help you to automatically detect data type correctly for every single columns. But sometimes it's not perfect. You need to study it your own way. So if you click on this, you'll see the icons for every single data type, and that will definitely make you to know if the data type you have on either of the columns are correct or not. But if you're not perfect, always make sure you verify. So coming to this particular one right now, if you look at this, for this particular, row 11, it does not have any associated, sales territory, country, and others. So you just need to check across. If you look at it that we have NA and null. So for the first time, you have to remove this one. We don't need it. You click on remove. Once you have done that, you just click on either of this one here and remove where we have not available or NA. That is clean now. Okay, let us move to our product. Onto our product, we have lots of columns we are not going to use as well. So we need to get those columns off and just keep the few columns we are going to use for our project. How do we do that? Let's get into it. So let's go to home. From home, we use this choose column as well. Click on it. And now we deselect everything. So the first thing we keep is the product key. It's very important. And we locate the product name, which is the English version of it. So we have different names. So we have English, so we have Spanish, we have French. So we don't need all of those. Now let's go down and pick the color here. Then we need the list price and the dealer price. So here is the list price. Here is the dealer price. Those are the columns we want to use. then go ahead and click on OK. That has helped you to reduce the column to 5. And we have over 600 rows. So don't worry about those particular null you have right here. You don't have to replace anything. So what do we do next? So for this one that they say dealer price is the cost of the product. So we're going to put cost here. For the list price is individual price of our product. So we double click it. We just put price. So if we go over here, we have English product name. So we can just type in product name. That is good. So we have done that. Then the next thing is for you to come right here to actually check if this one is okay as well. Let's verify all of this. And we are not going to need all of those columns. We just have to keep the columns we are going to use. And it's just 3 columns. Let's get it. Click here. Now we are here. The first column we want to keep is actually the key. So to select everything, keep the key, keep the city, and look for English country. So it's called English country region name. So just go ahead and click on OK. So we can just type in here country. So for the date we have here, we are not going to keep this date. We want to create our own date from the scratch using DAX, because our own motive to actually learn this is learn how DAX works and exactly how we can actually use it to answer business questions. So I'm going to delete this particular one from here. So I'm removing this table. So once I click on it, the table would now be removed. So it's gone. So the last thing we have here is the customer table. For the customer table, we need to actually remove some columns. Out of 29 columns, we just want to keep few of the column, like we want to keep 6 columns. Let's do it. Still on home, we go to choose column here. So we are here, get this off. So we want to keep our customer key. It's very important. The geographic key is important, and customer first name, customer last name. For the middle name is optional. If you want to keep the middle name, fine. So we can actually for now just go with this one. Then for the customer birthday is highly important. We want to keep the customer birthday and the customer gender. Now we have all the columns that we want to use, and from this we can add more columns after all. So once we have done that, I think, okay, let's add one more. That is total children for every single customers. Let's go ahead and click on OK. So we have reduced this to 7 columns rather, to 7 columns right here. And this is all we need. So don't forget to check your data types. For now, they are actually okay. And this is all you need to actually get your data ready. So we'll be coming back here when the need arises, but for now we are really cool with this. Let's get to our Power BI environment. Okay, to go to Power BI desktop from Power Query, what you do is to close and apply. All right, we're right here on Power BI desktop. Let's first of all check our relationship by going to this particular modeling area. As you can see, the system automatically creates our relationship for us, which is absolutely okay. No issue with that. So we're not going to actually spend much time on this. So if you look at it, it has it mapped accordingly right for us. All right, the next thing now is to look at where do we start from. Let us go to the previous one we have created to take a look at it and see what we need to learn first. After you might have actually understand the business need, the next thing is to look at how you can actually present the data in a way that would make the end users to actually, read meaning to your charts. So as you can look at this particular chart we have right here, we have lots of context on this to support the end users to read the chart accordingly. So we're going to create a chart that look just like this. I'm talking about this particular chart we have right here. So this particular part is called more context. The more context we add here, and right here is this. So now on this particular one, which is this particular line, is the average lines. We want to see which particular age group has actually, made more revenue than the average. You understand? And this particular part here, add under context, that tells us, where our revenue or the highest revenue is actually coming from. So this actually gives the end users the ability to actually read the chart without guessing. So in case you've not done something like this before, your question might be, how do I create this? So let's go ahead and take a look at how we can actually have something like this created. So we are going to create two disconnected tables. So just click on this particular enter data right here. Once you click on enter data, you see this table, change it to all measures. So all measures, then you load this. So we have all measures, inserted for us. So it's not enough. We're going to keep some measures here. To actually keep our measures organized, we need to actually add one, and that one is going to be called, customer or customers measure. Let us name it customer measures. So over here, we name this one customer measures. Then we just load this. So let us create our first measure. Our first measure is actually going to be the total revenue. So we're going to use all measure to do that. So click on all measure, and inside all measure, you can right click and you're going to see where it says new measure right here. Just go ahead and click it. So you can actually click your control key, then the plus to actually zoom closely to look at what you are actually writing. So it's actually simple to create the total revenue. So total revenue will be this revenue. So what we're going to do right now is to use the sum x. So I wouldn't actually, say much about most of the functions that I thought is going to be simple, but for the sake of the newbies that are just coming up, so what you need to know about the sum x is that sum x is actually an iterator that actually scan your table, the two tables you're going to be providing to it, or even though if it is one table, line by line, and do it. Then after all, aggregate it and actually give you the value you are looking forward to seeing. So now the sum x is actually looking for a table. If you pay attention to the intelligence right here, what you have here is actually a table. So you need to give it a table, and after the table, you need to give it the expression, and those expression actually the columns that actually has the value you want to actually, aggregate or, summarize, whatever. Okay, our sum x is here. The next thing now for the table is going to be our fact table right here. Then if I have my comma here now, I can actually go for the next one. And the next one is going to be what are those columns? So the column I want to use is actually going to be my quantity or order. So here we have order quantity right here. So this order quantity is actually sitting in the fact or the transactional table. So then the next thing that I do is to multiply this by what? I'm going to multiply this by a related table. So this particular function called related is used to actually get value from the one side of our table to the many side of our table. Remember, we have a related table and we have related function, right? They are both table function that actually help you to get value from either of the tables. Okay, doing this now, the table is going to be called product, and what we want from there is actually the price. Here we go, we have the price right in here. So shift enter, close, and if I hit my enter key, this has just done the justification for us. So now we have our total revenue. The next thing we do is to actually use the number formatting of our choice. So I'm going to use the dollar, symbol right here. So you can use the naira, the pounds, or the Ghana city, whatever currency you want to use for it. So you are not mandatory to use what I am using right now. Okay, now that we have this, we have a lot of, DAX to create, DAX measure to create, but this is the first one we're going to go with for we to actually, take a look at what we have done. Let us bring it into a card. All right, the result of our first measure is actually here. This is the result of our first measure, and this is actually good. So now that we have this, for we to create what we want, we need to actually add another column into our dashboard. Into our data on the customer table. Let us go to the customer table, go to the data view or the table view, then click on the customer. So when we click on the customer, you look at this column right here. So we can format it, change the format into normal short format of date. So what we want from here right now is to actually create the age of our customers for we to actually segment them. So we need to know how old our customers, are. So how do we do that? To create the age of our customers is actually very simple. We need to just write like one line of code. So to do that now, we need to add a new column. This new column would be inserted into this particular table called dim customer. So with our new column here, I'm going to call it customer age. So for my customer age here, I'm going to use a function called dateDiff. dateDiff actually gives you the difference between two dates. So I'm going to use that dateDiff here. So the dateDiff is looking for the first date and the second date. For the first date, I will definitely use my birthday of my customers. So here we have the birth date here. Then for the second one, we need to use a comma to do that. So use a comma, and it's asking for the second one. So for the second one, we want this to be dynamic. So for that, we're not going to actually hand code any date right here. Instead, what we're going to do is to use the today function. So today function is dynamic. Every single day it changes. As soon as you enter a new day, any customer that is actually 15 today, by next year will be 16. Automatically it's going to be converted for you. So once we are done with that, we can go ahead and close this. Do we need to do that? Okay, sorry, we need one more to go, comma again. And this time around, it's asking you, like, how do you want this? Do you want to know how many days either of your customers has spent on this planet, or hours, minutes, months, quarters, seconds, or week? No, we are not actually interested in any of those intervals. Instead, we want the year. So use the tab key to commit it, then go ahead and close, then hit your enter key. This will definitely give you the numbers of years for every single customers. Now we have this. Can you see it now? Very, very simple. The next thing we're going to do right now is to create what I call customer segmentation. So we need to segment those customers into different buckets. So how do we do that? There are so many ways to do this. You might know a better way than me, but let me show you one way out of the many ways I know how to do it. Maybe you don't know this one, then we can share this knowledge together. What you do is to click on new column rather. So when you click on new column, you can name this one customer category or age category. So let us name it age category. So for the age category, so I'm going to use the switch function. You can use the if function, you can use the switch function to do this, whatever. So I'm going to say switch, and I'm going to use the one with the true, switch only if it is true, then have my comma right here. So the first value now is going to be this. So I'll be using the AND function as well. So you can do this without the AND function, but I'm going to use the AND function. So using the AND function right now, remember we have a customer, age created. So I'm going to say customer age, which is this one. So we can do without the table name and it's still going to work. How do we do that? If I actually move right here, I can actually get this particular table name off and only have the column. But sometimes when you do this, it will feel like maybe you are using a measure. So you might want to have the table name right in here. So keeping the table name alongside with this one is optional, but I love to have my work very clean. So I'll go with this one. So what I'm going to do is that if this particular customer age is actually greater or equals 0, you get it? Because I'm going to segment this and have the age being grouped. So what I want is if it is greater or equal to 0, and the second logical one is that it's going to be the same customer age here. I told you I wouldn't like to keep the table name, so I'm going to actually get this off. So this time around, I want to use less than. So it's less than or equal to 10. Then if that is the case, I'm going to close my and. I have just some kind of gotten that done. Then I'm going to put my comma right here. So the result I want right now is going to be those customers are going to be from 0 to 10. So you have to put that inside a double quotation right here, 0 to 10. Then you close it. Then you hit your comma. So we have gotten the first value in. So for we to stop writing this all over again, we can definitely copy this from here. Ctrl C, copy it, and we paste it all over again. So let me paste this one. Ctrl Shift Enter, I paste. Ctrl Shift Enter again, I paste. So as you can see, I have 7 lines of code right here. The highlighted part here is actually 7. Then the last one is going to be without, a comma, because that is the last one. Okay, I think we're going to have a comma right here for a purpose. So let us put a comma right there. So what we're going to do right now is to change the values we have here. So right here, I'm going to use 10. So if you look at it, I'm actually on 10, and 10 is the last number right here. And for now, I'm going to use 20 over here. So I'm going to put 2, that is 20. Then I'm going to use that same 20 over here. As you can see, you can work the math, you'll see that we're actually creating interval between them. Then over here is going to be 30. Then the 30 will come down to this particular part here. Then right here is going to be 40. So then we're going to do the 40 over here, and we do 50 here. 50 here. Then we can do the same 50 over here, while we do 60 over here. Then we're going to do 60 over here. Then now we do 70 over here. So for the result we are going to display on the screen when all of those conditions are met, so will be this one here. So if it is actually greater than or equal to 10 and less than or equal to 20, so what we want is going to be 11 to 20. So 11 to 20. So I'm going to actually tell you why I did that. So let me quickly explain that to you. So if you look at this particular part right here, it says 0 to 10. So once this particular code runs from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, it stopped at 10. So it starts running from 11 again. That is why we have it 11 to 20, and it stopped at 20. And that is on and on. So it's something that you can actually sit down and devise how I actually did it. So the next one is going to be 21 to 30. 21 to 30 right here. So this one is going to be 31 to 40. So 31 to 40. Then 61 to 70. So you look at that. So we have the last line. So if any of these are not the case, Shift Enter. The last one now is going to be inside double quotation over 70. You get it now. Over 70 or 70 plus. depends on what you really want. So once we are done with this, shift enter, we can now close this, and we've closed our switch. So very simple, very easy. I told you that there are so many ways to do this, but I just want to show you this. So now once you've done, you hit the enter key and commit it. And right now we have a new column that actually segment our customers for us. So if I click over here now, so what we see is that we have 21 to 30, 61 to 70 as the max. So we don't have 0 to 10. So the question you might be asking, if we don't have this, or let me do a normal highlight for you. So the question you might have in mind is this: if you do not have this particular tool, and we don't have this one, why do we have them here? So one thing is this: if you don't have any customer within this particular two age buckets now, then in the future you might have customers that will be within this particular range. So having this and this here will definitely make you to have the right analysis when that time comes. You get it? So that was why we included this right in it. So we can click on escape key. Already we've gotten what we want, so we are ready to actually go right here and take a look at how we can actually start using this to actually create some insight. All right, we are here. We have a card here, so we're not going to use this card. Instead, what we're going to use is this particular closed tab column chart right here. So clicking on the closed tab column chart, the very first thing I'm going to do is to bring in that particular age category in here. So the age category now went to our x-axis, and for the y-axis, what we want to get inside our y-axis is actually that particular measure we created the other time, and that is going to be this total revenue. So as you can see, we have our total revenue this way. So you might want to sort this particular chart by the x-axis. So how do you do that? You click over here and you go to sort, and once you get into that, you can sort by the age category here. So it has been sorted for you. So we're starting from the highest value to the lowest value. So clicking on it again, we can decide to go to sort again, and we sort ascending, and now it's from the lowest age group, 21 to 30, 31 to 40, down to the max one. This is what you do. Okay, once we have gotten this, the next thing again is for you to look at how we can actually add that particular conditional, this is the conditional formatting we have, and the average line we have to add more context to this particular chart. So it is time for we to use another our disconnected table we created, which is the customer measures right here, to create our next measure. So go to this particular table tools and you click on new measure. So when you're in new measure, that will definitely create a measure for you, and we can name our measure now to average revenue by our age group. So I'm going to do average, so AVG for average revenue. So inside brackets, I want to put age age group here. So I'll close this, then is equals. Okay, what am I going to do? We're going to actually average our revenue by the x-axis, which is age group. So the function to be used for that is going to be the average x. So using the average x, we want to average. We don't want to average for individual age groups. So we want to average for all of the age groups we have. And we need to remove filter. The only functions that can do that for us is the all function. So with the all function, we're going to tell it that, what? I want you to remove filter from age group for me. So customer age, okay, it's called customer age category. So you can call it customer age group. So I will remove filter from this, then go ahead and close this, and now hit your comma. Then the next thing is the expression. The expression is going to be only measure we've ever created, which is this particular one right here, total revenue. So once you've done that, shift enter, you go ahead and actually close. So I don't want to confuse you. If you look at what we have done right here, so we type in here. So we said we have average, revenue. And for that average revenue, we actually did this particular average X. This average X is an iterator that goes into this particular, dim customer table and actually navigate into the column where we have our average age category or the age group into, and line by line and do that work. But we don't want it to actually average this, average this, average this. We want to average all of them so that we can have an average revenue for all our customers. That was all we did. Okay. Then once we have done that, we can hit the enter key to create the average line now. So let us quickly have this formatted. So use the $pound, the dollar sign right here, and always take off the extra decimal you might have on it. 0 here onto auto. We don't want that. So we'll take auto off and we'll put 0. Okay, for we to see what we have done, the effect of it right now, we need to change the kind of chart we are actually using right now. So how do we do that? So click on this and let us use this particular, line and stacked column chart instead. So with the line and stacked column chart, we can come over here now and we go into the line y-axis here. So when you click on that, you go to customer and you pick the average here. So can you see that is the average? Very good. Although this is not a chart we're going to use, I'm just trying to show you what this looks like, because automatically Power BI is able to detect the average of your value irrespective of the dimension you are using. In that case, let us bring this down right here. So I will definitely go over to pick this particular clustered column chart again. So once I pick that, I can actually resize it. So once I've done that, I will go for my customer. So let us get our age category in. So once we've gotten our age category in, let's go to all measures and get in our total revenue. So now we have something similar to this. So what are we trying to derive from this? I'm trying to show you the difference between the one we have calculated and the one that is system or Power BI would automatically generate for you. So now we can click on this now and let's go all the way down. So once we get down here, you can see where we have reference line. So click on the reference line and let's scroll all the way down again. And then now add line. So once you click on add line, you can say choose a type. So if you click on choose a type, you can actually say add average line. Then system automatically adds the average line for you, just like what we have right here. So if you look at it right now, you can actually go over to the 3 dots here. And from 3 dots, we can go to the sorting. We sort by category. So we can come back here and we go to the sorting again. We can do ascending and we have something exactly like this one. So we have it. The difference between this particular one and this one is that this one is dotted line, and we don't need to actually create a chart that would add extra y-axis before we can get this. So one thing I love about the one that this particular system generated is that you can actually add data label, which is not really possible on this one. I don't know if you can do that yourself and see if that is possible. So what we do now is to scroll all the way down. So once we scroll down, we can add data label inside here. And that is just for the line chart alone that we have, or the trend line we have for the average. So once we have done that, we can open it up to format it. So right now it's asking us, where do we want to have this? So we have this on the left hand corner. We can decide to say, okay, you know what? Just push this to the right hand corner for me. And the next thing is actually style. So if you click on style, you can now see why it says use the name. And once we click on the name, it only adds average line 1 for you. So we don't want that. We want both the name and the value. So we can use, both. So clicking on both, we have the default average line 1 with the value that we have. So what we can do is to actually scroll all the way up again, and we need to edit this. You can see a pen icon there. Go ahead and click it. So once you have it clicked, you can name this one to average, just with this. Can you see? So this is what you can do. Can you see now? So if I hover over this one here, look at the value we have. It's the same value that we have, the one we generated using Power BI. Can you see that? Very, very interesting, right? So with this, we're going to add more context. Let me take you back to the finished one and for you to look at what I'm talking about. So over here, as you can see, we have already, gotten this particular part achieved. So the only thing we don't have here is this particular color here. That is the same thing, and this color. And if you need to know, this color responds to your filter. So if this is actually above this line, you're going to have this color. If this particular one is below this line, you're going to have this particular color right here. And that is what it is. And we need to actually add more context. So this context says 74% of revenue is attributed to the yellow bars, primarily led by the 41 to 50 age group surpassing the average revenue line. Very interesting. So how do we add this context? Before we add this context, let us talk about this particular color and this color we have right here. This is not a default color in Power BI. Instead, we're going to use measure to actually have this color the way it is. Let's get it. So in that case, we don't need the line and stacked column chart right here. So once Power BI can generate the same thing and it will be even much more easier, let us get it away from here. So what we're going to do now is to click on this particular data, and now we click on the customer measure. Inside the customer measure, we need to create a new measure right here. So I'm going to click on measure. So try to remember the average, revenue by customer age group we've calculated that we remove filter from. So we're going to use that right now. So what I'm going to do is to just say conditional formatting. So CF for conditional formatting, and I'm going to do age group right here. So putting my equals sign. The next thing I'm going to do is to actually, use an if condition to do this. So what I'm going to do right now is to say if, and if what? If total revenue, which is this particular total revenue here, is actually greater than, so let us look at that. So if it is greater than the average revenue, so remember this average revenue? That was the last measure we created. So if it is greater, we want to see 1. Otherwise, we want to see 0. Then that is all we need to do. Shift, hit the enter key, then close, and now hit enter. So if you want to see this in reality, so what you can do now is to actually click on this to actually have it on a card to see what results you are going to have. So here we go. So because the total revenue is above the average, we have this. But we want this to actually look good on a conditional formatting aspect. So we want to use it on a conditional formatting environment. So what we can do now is to click on this. So first of all, you need to know about color. Before we definitely start to do this, what color do you want to use for your dashboard is absolutely important for you to know that. So from the color, we can pick the colors for our chart and the color for highlights and all of that. On this website called color.adobe.com, so you can actually get, any color of your choice. You can even make a search or mix the color you really want. So make sure if you're on this site, you click on explore and come over to the bar here. So if I put in like yellow, black now. So, and I hit my enter key, it's going to actually search and create a color palette for me that actually, correlate with yellow and black for me. So if I scroll down, you can see the color I have right here. So this is where you can come and choose any color you want, specifically if you are not really good at colors, right? So already I have the color for you. If you want to take a look at that, so you have it on your own download file. So this is the color for my first dashboard and color for my second dashboard, the dark one and the light one, right? So this is what we're going to use. So now, how do you make use of this? Just click on this one, for example, and come over to here if you're on PowerPoint. So click on this. Then from there, you scroll down, you see where it says more colors. So once you have that, you can come here, you see the hex code. Then you Ctrl A to copy the hex code. In case you are using a lower version of PowerPoint, what you can do is you might not have the hex code, then you can use the RGB right here. The numbers is what you're going to copy. I'm going to show you how to enter them as well. So let's go back to our Power BI. So we are right on Power BI right now. So on the Power BI, make sure you have this one clicked on. So once you click on your own chart that you want to format, so go to the formats, part here. And what you need to do is to go down, you see where it says column. So on that column, what you can do is to actually go ahead and change any color you want to use here. Can you see? This is the default color we have. But if you have to use conditional formatting to condition how the color looks like, then you need to use the FX right here. So clicking on the FX, so it's going to open this for us. Then now what we can do is to actually click right to this row and change it to field value. So when we change it to field value, we go over to here, then we click on the customer, measure, and we now see the conditional format CF age group here. Then we click on it. Okay, sorry, we need to use gradient. Let's go with the gradient, not the field value. So use the gradient. So when you use the gradient, we actually go ahead and select the conditional format here. So once we have it selected, then for the highest value, what do you want to use? Remember, we have copied the color code from PowerPoint. So I'm going to come over here and click on it, then go to more colors here. So when we get to more colors, you can see where we have the hex code right in. So make sure you paste your hex code at the right part, right? Your hex code is here. So if you don't have the hex code, you might have the RGB. Here is the R, the G, and the B. You paste the our respective numbers on the boxes you have, right? So once you have done that, the next thing is for we to place our color right here. So we have placed the color for the highest value. So if we go back to PowerPoint right now, so the next we're going to do is to get this particular color for the lowest value. So that is not actually above or exact the average value we have. So we go over here and we click on colors. Then we go over to custom, we click here and Ctrl A, we copy this and we have to get back to Power BI. So inside Power BI now, for the lowest value now, we click on this and we click over more and we paste it in here. And once we step out from here and click on OK, let's see what we're going to have now. So can you see it? That is good. So we have this right. The next thing we're going to do is to make sure our chart is very well clean. So we're not going to have anything like the chart title. I'm going to take it off and let's come to the x-axis right here. For the x-axis, I don't want the title for the x-axis, but I want to actually have the axis text to be bold. Then I click on the bold. Then for the y-axis, I don't want to keep the y-axis at all. So what I'm going to do is to actually get off the y-axis totally. So click on the x-axis, close it, y-axis. So we need to actually turn off the title first. Once we have done that, the next thing we do is to turn off the axis totally. That is very interesting. Then the next thing we're going to do right now is that for we to keep this particular legend right here that shows 0 is low and 1 is high, it doesn't really help our end users. What do we need to do? We can get them off by make sure you turn off the legend. Okay, now that is okay. What about the line? You can look at the line color is not actually matching our actual color right here. So what do? So we click, just scroll down to, where can we do that? Scroll down where we have the reference line. Then you scroll down to the line aspect here. Now here we have the line. So we can choose to use something dark gray color. So this is perfect. Then what about the text of the value we are displaying on the line chart? So we need to actually make sure we match that accordingly as well. So how do we go about that? So let's turn on the reference line. So we go down. So we have the data label. We scroll. We have the value in this color. So we can choose to use something like this. This is perfect. I love it this way. Nicely done. As you can see, we are almost done from here. The next thing we're going to do right now is that we want to actually activate, our main data label, which is this particular one right here. Can you see that? So that actually supports what we want to display. So after we have this, I can just put this one right here for the time being. Then the next thing we need to do right now is to make sure we create another context that would definitely support this particular chart to tell the story we want it to tell. And what is that? We need to actually add a new measure inside our customer measures. So I'm going to click new measure. So please don't forget to like and leave a comment. All of that will definitely help my channel to grow, and share to your friends in case they need to learn about Power BI. So the very first thing we're going to do is to actually add the name. So I'm going to say average. So I always love to use the short form. Let's do caption, average caption. Average caption. So now, sometime I would love to keep a shorter, measure name. But over here, what I'm going to do, in case somebody opens this, for the person to understand what is actually going on, I will definitely add a comment right here to tell the person what this is actually all about. So you can see what I'm typing in. So revenue of age group above and below average. So this is the revenue of age group above or below average. Caption. So here we go. We have this. Okay, we can start writing this. For the first time, the very first thing we're going to do is to actually, create a variable to do this. So you're going to learn a lot from here. Just let us go slowly. So I'll type in here, variable. So the function of this variable is to actually get the average revenue by age group. So which is going to be average revenue age group. So if you want to actually keep space, make sure you use underscore. So I always love to use, underscore at the beginning, because it will be very easy for me to actually call back my variables when I need to actually reference them within this particular measure. So once I've done that, put my equal sign, shift, enter. Now what I'm going to do right now is to use the average X. You know what we've done before. So using the average X here. So you can use the summarize instead of the all function. You can use the summarize, our function over here. So the summarize function is just like the all function is looking for a table, and now our table is actually, our customer. So customer here, dim customer, and when I put my comma right now, it's looking for a column. A column is going to be age, the age group here. That is the column we want to put right there. So once we've done that, we can close this, and that is all for that. So now we have given it our table. The next thing is actually the expression. The expression is actually, we want to average our previous one, which is this particular one here. then we have this. So let us look at the functionality of this particular variable we have right here. So this variable is actually calculating the average revenue for different age group based on the age category column in the dimensional table called dim customer. So that is what this is actually doing. So we are not done yet. We have more. So here we're going to add another variable. So I will call this one revenue underscore revenue filtered table. Okay, let's see what is the function of this one. So the reason why we are doing this is that we want to actually create a percentage of, the top age category or age group that has surpasses the average revenue set. You understand? So we want to see what is the percentage of that particular age group. That is why we are doing this. And to do that right now, we're going to do something else. We're going to iterate through a table that we are going to create virtually. And what we're going to do, what we're going to need to do that is actually using the SUMX as an iterator. So using the SUMX is actually looking for what? Looking for a table. And the table right now, we're going to use the filter function. So using the filter function will take the summarize, function here. So inside the summarize function, as you can see, the summarize function, it will be looking for a table. And the table right now is going to be dim customer. So comma, and for the column will be the age. So we want the age category here, the age category. Then we close and we hit our comma. So once we have done that, we are going to say, okay, you know what? For the expression, shift enter to properly indent it. We want to say total revenue greater than that of average. That is the previous measure of created. So for we to actually access the previous measure of created with ease, just having an underscore here will give you, variable rather, not measure, variable. So we give you the variable and we have the variable here. So once we have done this, shift enter, we close, and once we hit our comma, our expression right now is going to be this very total revenue here, our measure. So shift enter, then we close. So let us highlight this particular part here. So as you can see, what this particular part does is to only calculate for the age group that surpasses the total revenue. You understand? It's not actually calculating the whole total revenue. That is not what it is. It's only calculating for that age group. If we have 0 to 10, 7 to 5 as an instance, 20 to 30. So if only 20 to 30 surpasses the total, the average revenue, then it's only calculating for this particular average revenue. That is what we are only having. It's only calculating for this one that surpasses the average revenue. So it's returning the total revenue for that. So we are doing this because we want to create a percentage. In case you're actually lost somewhere, don't worry, you will get it after all. So that is all you just need to know. So let us proceed from here. So as you can see, we have gotten the total revenue for the age, the age group with the highest, revenue that is higher than the average. So we need to actually know which particular age group is that. So we're going to use the variable again. And this time around, this variable will be top age group, right? So top, don't forget your underscore, top age group equals. So for we to do that is very simple. We want to extract just one age group, and that one age group has a condition. That age group must actually have the highest revenue. So what we can do, we can use the top end function to do that. So for the top end function, we are going to tell the top end function that we need just one single age group. So you get that now. So with that, we're looking for a table. And for we to get that table, we're going to use a function called distinct. So the distinct function here is actually going to be asking for a column. And this column now, we're going to provide a column called age category here. So for the age category, we close this and we hit our comma. So now it says order by expression. For the order by expression, we need to give it the total revenue here. So how do we want to actually, what do I say? How do we actually rank this? Do we want the smallest value or the highest value? So actually descending is what we want. So the descending is going to return the highest value, the age category or age group with the highest value, comma. So we are going to do one more thing. So we want to say comma, and this order by second expression here, shift enter to go into a new line. So we are doing this for the age category. The reason for that is that if 2 or 3 age categories have the same values, we want to return just one. Then we go age category here, and this one we do ascending instead of descending. Shift enter, we go ahead and close this. So you might want to, we have not been seeing the result that those particular variable would return. So what do we do? Shift enter. Let us look at if we return either of them. So I'm going to return my, total top age group here. So the top age group, I will have it return. Then I want to see what the result would look like in the card. So we have it. Let's go and push this into a card. So you can see 41 to 50. So let us look at it here. So you can see 31 to 40 is 75 million, 76 million for 41 to 50, which made it the highest. But this particular 51 to 60 is still having 76. But let us hover over it. This is 75,678,687 US dollars. Now, if you hover over this is giving 76, not 75. So this one is working based on approximation. So you can see the difference. So the highest one is coming from here. Then the next thing you might want to get is, okay, what if we go ahead and return another variable we've created? So what can we do? Let's come over here. And if I put my underscore here, I see all my variable. Let us return this particular variable we'll call revenue filter table. So here we go. So let us go ahead and look at what would be the result we're going to find. So the result is this. This is the result we have. So your question might be this. What is this value to 7.28 million? What is the value? Let me show you what the value is. So the value here is actually coming from this, and this. So 1, 2, 3 added together is actually giving us this. So you only use this one to calculate for where our revenue surpasses the average line. That is exactly what we have done, which means it excludes this. I exclude this one here because they are not actually in the list of the age group or age bucket that surpasses the average line. You get it now. Okay, let us look at the last one before we proceed. So let's click here. So we click here now. That will definitely be we showing average revenue age group. So try to look at what will be the result before you definitely proceed. Let's see what this would be like. So this is what we have. So without me even saying anything, you must have known what this is like. So now this particular value you have right here is actually equal to the value we produced right here on the average line. That is it. 61.418 million US dollars is what it is that we have right here. That is what that particular measure is doing. So you might be asking, why are we doing all this? We are doing all this just to add a context to our chart. So let's proceed over to the main measure. So if I scroll down, we don't actually need any of these for now, so we take them off. So where are we now is that we want to actually create a variable, and this variable is going to some kind of calculate revenue for only the top age group. Okay, so now we do variable, so underscore revenue top age group, so equals, shift enter. So right now, to do that, we can use the calculate function over here. Inside the calculate function, what we're going to do, we are going to use the total revenue. So this is our total revenue here. That is the measure. So if I put my comma right now, let's see what it is. When I put my comma, it's asking me for filter. That filter right now would be a particular variable we have right here. And that variable is top age group. Shift, enter, and we're closed. So remember, so let us just display this. Then I'm going to explain this to you. So if I come here and say return now, so this return underscore here will return revenue top age group here. So let's see what it's going to give to us. This is going to be for just one single age group, and this single age group is the age group or the age category that actually surpasses the average line. So look at it, 76.19, and that is going to be this one. Can you see? So 76.18 is what you are seeing, but that 5 is going to be approximated to 8, and it's going to be 9 if you can actually look at that over, over here. So when you approximate this particular 5 here to 8, it gives you 9, and you have that. That is what we have done. So we are still actually going somewhere. Let's go back and keep going. So if I take this off now, the next thing I'm going to do right now is to actually create my result. What do I really want with all of this? Okay, I'll create a new variable. Inside this new variable, I'll call it underscore result. Underscore result equals. So for the result, all I want is to actually get a percentage. So I'm going to use a divide. And inside my division, I'm going to use underscore filtered. Revenue filtered, right? Oh, sorry. I think you have a table, call a table. Yeah. Revenue filter table here, comma, shift, enter. Then we're going to divide that by the total revenue. That is going to be our main measure. The measure is not actually a variable here, but just a measure outside here. Shift, enter, we close. So this would give us the percentage. So if you want to look at this, please, you can take a look at it. Just do, return, and it will return the percentage that is peculiar to it. Okay, we've come this far. We want to actually go straight to the point and actually show what we want to show on the screen right here. And that is where we have to actually type in return. And in our return, what we actually want is to actually create a string with the concatenation of our values and our percentages. So remember, there will be a lot of work here. So let's do this. Okay, over here, what I'm going to do is to first of all use a format. On the screen, you can see what we are trying to achieve. So if I put my format here, inside the format, I want my result to be in a percentage. Ordinarily, if I just put my result here, without format, what I will have is going to be this. So let's just look at it. Results, and I hit my enter key. I want to see what we are going to have without we formatting it into a percentage. So let us look at that. So let's go over here. So we have this 0.7, which doesn't really make any sense as a percentage for now. So for we to convert this to a percentage, it would be very easy for us when we click over here and actually convert it to a percentage. That is great. So it works because we have not actually some kind of added any string on it. So it's working right now. It gives us what we want. But what happens when we actually scroll down and actually say, okay, this particular 74% that we have, so we want to concatenate something else to it. And to concatenate is to use the ampersand here. So to add a text inside of a quotation, once you have it, you have the space bar to give a space. So you type of, like, let's say 74%. We're going to say 74% of, revenue is attributed to the yellow. So whatever color you use to highlight anyone that surpasses the average line, so you can give the color right here. So bars, comma, primarily led by the. So we are done. So I want to close this. I'm going to give a space to close this, and I'll close this right here. You get it now. So once I have it closed, I'm not done yet. So for me not to some kind of make it not really well formatted, I'm gonna hold my shift key, enter, then that will go into the next line for me. So I would like to come out of it. I want to set all my text right here. Okay, I think now I'll do another ampersand to concatenate something different. This time around, I want to concatenate the age group that has the highest, value when it comes to surpassing the average line. So I will do underscore here. So when I do the underscore, I will go for top age group. So my top age group is here. So inside here, I want to write in that text space. So let's say it's 41 to 50. So 41 to 50, I'm going to put age group. Age group. Surpassing. The average revenue line. I would like to pull those in capital letter. Average revenue line. Then I close this. That is all I want. So if I hit my enter right now, so you want to see that that particular formatting we did the other time is gone. Let us look at it. So as you can see, it has returned very huge number to us. Do you see that now? This is huge. So what can we do to actually make sure we bypass this to have the right formatting for our percentage? All we need to do is to come over here. Right now we scroll all the way down. So we use the format function here. Format. So when we use the format function, can actually have a comma here after our variable. Then for the format, you can see, pay attention to the IntelliSense under the format here. Inside of a quotation, we want to put 0.0 here. So with 0.0, you have a percentage already. So you can put the percentage, sign here. You close this and you close your format. Then let us hit our enter key and look at it. We should have what we want. Actually, we have it. So if you don't want to have a decimal place right on it, what you can do, maybe you might want to do some other changes. So I think we have another way to do it. Let's come over here. So I can decide to remove this. I'll just do 0%. Let's see what the result would look like. So let's see that. So with 0%, we have 74% without we having that extra decimal. And another way to have the same thing done is to use the hash key. So now we can actually come over here. Instead of having 0 here, I'm going to have the hash point hash and hit my enter key. It will still give me the same result. No difference. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. Can you see it now? We have the same result. Okay. I think we are having dots. So that dot, for we to get that dot off there, is for we to actually remove the last one. So let's see what this will give us. So just try to play around and see what this would look like. I believe it's going to help you. So can you see that dot is gone? So we have 74%. It's either you are using 0 or you're using the hash, anyone you want to use. So you are free to do, use any one of your choice. So once we have gotten this done, the next thing we have to do right now is to actually format this. So for we to format this now, I'm going to click on my format here. Then I go to my color, I think it's call out value. So I'm going to use size 12. So I have something like this. So I'm going to take off the caption, right? Take off the caption. Then we can shrink this. So I'm going to have it above here. So if you look at it, we have a border and we have a white, background on it. So we come over here to turn it off totally. So it's gone. So this add a little, context to what we are doing. You understand? So this supports our chart to be some kind of readable. So the readability is the key. That is what we are actually looking forward to right here. So we have this. So the next we're going to do right now is that this does not really say much about this particular, chart we have right here. What we need to do is to some kind of go over to insert. So click on insert and click on the text box. So once we click on the text box, the next thing we're going to do right now is to actually, have our title ourselves. So our title should be revenue segmented by age group. By age buckets or group. That is it. So once we have done that, we have to some kind of Control A to highlight the content inside it. Come over here to put it on 14. So let us select a bold font. So I'm going to go with this particular one that says bold on it. So we have this. So right away, I would love to some kind of format this with the same color I have right here. So what can I do if I can't remember the color? It's always simple to get the color back. So click on it and go over to where you did the formatting under these particular columns. And the next thing you do is to click on the FX here. Then you click on this one, click on more colors. You can copy the color code from here. Then cancel, you go over here and use it. So what I'm going to do right now is that I want to format this particular one on a separate color. So I click over here, I click on this and I choose to go and have the color here. So now I have the color rightly. I select this one to change the color. So let's say I'm going to use this color here. So now I have something like this. I can just some kind of minimize it and I have it above this one. So the problem I'm going to have is when I have it here, I need to go ahead and turn off the background. Otherwise, it won't allow the caption to show. So this is what it is. So now please practicalize, just practice this one while we actually see how we can come up with other ones. So this is a dark version of it. Very great. You understand? No difference. We have given you a top-notch dashboard right here. So if you actually find value on this particular part of our report, go ahead and actually hit the like button. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think about my YouTube channel. So support me by actually sharing this content to other people on your social media. So it's very, very important, and it's going to help this particular channel to grow. So thank you. See you in the next one.